Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is January 21st, 2026. I hope you are doing well. Hope life is treating you kind. Hope you're doing something to bring you some peace, love, joy, and happiness in your life. My name is Mark. I want to say thank you for stopping by again. Look, everything in our life has an expiration date. Fortunately, maybe unfortunately, we don't know when that is. In life, it's not like walking into a grocery store and looking at a product and it says expiration date or best before. Um, that's not how life works. Sometimes we've got to grow in to even understanding ourselves. And as I go into telling a story, again, I want to be very, very clear. Now, I'm going to try to keep everything clean and not go into any graphic details or anything like that. But my goal here is I want you to know it's okay to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to pull yourself out of the game if that's what is needed for your healing. So, with that said, people at one point in time, and keep this in mind, there's always a backstory. And if I gave the entire backstory, I'd be sitting here talking to you for an hour. But I want to keep it as short as possible. But there's always a backstory. But the people that know me or knew me knew at one point in time I was very active within the ministry, taking speaking engagements within the church, trying to encourage people. And please understand this, we have a lot of hurt, broken people in leadership. And I get it. A hurt, that, there's a saying out there, hurt people hurt other people. That is true. But a lot of times, just the opposite, a lot of hurting people try to help other people heal. I get it. In doing that, I didn't have to focus on my hurt, my anger. In other words, I didn't have to acknowledge it because I kept myself so busy. Now, and I'm going to go back to 2012 when I had severe eye problems. Now, I had an awakening. Now, I became woke. And I know in today's environment, woke is meant to be a bad thing, but actually it's good. It means you are coming aware. You now have knowledge of. Depends on how you look at it, but I want to be awake and I want to be aware. We hear this, be aware of your surroundings, but are we aware of what's going on inside of us? Now, there was a period of time that I couldn't, because of my vision, I couldn't take speaking engagements. I couldn't even look down at a page to read a page. But as my vision started to get better, Pastor, the area that I lived in at that time, he, his wife, his kids, uh, we were friends for a long time. He and his wife, the kids, I called them nephews. Um, but he had invited me to speak at a special service that they were having. And I said yes. Now, I would always say yes to him if I didn't have anything else on my calendar at the time because we had built a friendship over years. Now, when I had the youth organization, um, I would hold special services for the young people, and they saw me every day. So I wanted them to hear different voices and different opinions and different outlooks. So if I invited him to speak, it was the same thing. If he didn't have anything on his calendar, he would say yes. So leading up to once I was able to take speaking engagements again, he asked me and I said yes. So I went there on the Sunday morning and sitting in his office slash study. Um, he now keep in mind, I've been in that office slash study several times. Sometimes he would ask me to fill in when he was on vacation. He wouldn't be there, but I'd go in there and finish in my final notes or what have you. But this particular Sunday morning, I don't know what he saw or what he felt, but he kept asking me. He's like, "Mark, are you okay?" I'm like, yeah, Pastor, I'm okay. And we would do a little bit of small talk. And he said, "Mark, are you okay?" And I said, yeah, I'm good. And so one time he even asked me, he's like, "Are you going to be able to preach this morning?" I said, yeah, Pastor, I'm good. There again, he didn't explain to me what he saw, what he felt, but obviously something was off. And as protocol, when the time was there for us to leave his office to go out and join the congregation, we leave his office, walk out into the sanctuary, uh, a step or two. I don't remember exactly if it's one step or two, but anyway, stepped up into the podium slash pulpit, stage, whatever you want to call it. And there's 3 chairs. Mm. And ever who's going to speak that morning or that evening, whatever the case may be, sit in the middle chair. Even though he was the pastor, the guest speaker would sit on the throne because it was a larger chair, a high back. Most of them are wood in it. They look like they're comfortable, but they are not. I mean, those chairs have no padding in them. And they sit straight up. There's no leaning back in them. You sitting straight up. So, and I'm sitting there, and so I already knew the protocol, the routine of this church because I've been there several times, had spoken there several times. So came the point that he done his protocol and spoke to his people, and I had some family members there, and there was guest people there, there was members of the church there, um, and people that were very, very familiar with my face, very familiar with my style of speaking, and my style, typical Baptist preacher. Once I started feeding off of the people, I become very animated, and I would sweat a lot, and I got a workout, good cardio workout. But that's the Baptists. Other denominations, they very quiet. They sit back and they listen to their leader. But where I'm going here, still talking about everything has an expiration date, and I want to be clear. When I tell this, and like I said, I want to get to the point. But he introduced me, and the choir sung a song. And once they got through, I stood up. And I always carry a towel like this. Usually they're all white that I carry to the gym. Just, like to sweat. Now, when I would carry it, and that was anywhere that I took a speaking engagement, in the Bible, the Bible in the middle, I would lay that in there. So sometimes I'd use the ink pen as a prop. Sometimes most of the time, at that time, I didn't need glasses all the time. So normally I would step up to the podium, and there's just a little side thing there, a little shelf on each side. I take my glasses off and lay them down. But the towel was my prop plus my sweat. So he introduces me, and I stand up, and I take my towel and I throw it across my shoulder. And I've shared this story with some people. And when I realized that I'd done that, I said, "I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I was at the gym." The reason I'm telling you that, I had checked out from what I had done for many many years. I had checked out because when I go to the gym, I always keep the towel over my shoulder, especially when I'm doing cardio. I sweat so much and I can get it and wipe the sweat. So again, I threw it over my shoulder. I said, "Yo, I'm sorry. I thought I was at the gym." So I had sure enough checked out from what I had been doing for many years. But I continued to try to make it work. I wanted it to work. I was familiar with that. Not necessarily believe it. Some of it I did, and some of it till today I still believe. I do believe that there is a God. I don't have to classify myself as Christian to believe that. But what I had to do was come clean with my hurt, my pain, my anger, my disappointments, my letdowns. So I did not know, and it was not planned. But once I stepped up to the podium, I thanked the pastor for inviting me. I thanked the people for receiving me. And I proceeded to tell them, I said, look, I have been introduced from this pulpit, from this podium, many times over the years. Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Wednesdays, I've done youth revival. I've been to MC, Master of Ceremony. I wasn't a member of the church, but you would have thought that I was because I was so active within that ministry. I said, but this morning, I'm going to introduce you to Mark because y'all don't know who Mark is. And I want to be very clear. On that note, I want y'all to be clear on, and I'm talking to adults here. I want y'all to be clear in setting boundaries and being okay with enforcing those boundaries and what you would like to see out of a friendship or a relationship. What you would like to see. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it, but to be able to find your voice and the courage to speak what you would like to see. And also be able to meet and listen to the other person in what they want if they are open to talk about it. Now, just like me, a lot of people walk in denial. Now, what I did know, and this is what I explained to the people, I said, I'm going to answer some questions that I know over the years that y'all wanted to ask, but you were afraid to ask. Might have not have been the appropriate time, but it was for me. See, now I'm taking my power because, like I said, there's always a backstory. So all of these years I've given my power away. What I want you to understand as well, be the star of your own show. I kept giving my power away. It wasn't necessarily taken. I gave it. So I said, probably number one, y'all probably wonder why I've never married. And it gets complex. It's complicated. I said, I have been making adult decisions since I was 11. I knew, even though I didn't know how to force it, I knew that I had an anger problem. But along with the anger problem, dealing with being sexually abused when I was a kid. And when I say that a kid, I'm talking about before I started school. So what, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. Yes, so I said, that messes with the psyche of a person. And I said, I haven't been able to pray that away. And if any of y'all that's listening to me, if you have dealt with that, any type of abuse, it don't necessarily have to be sexual abuse, mentally, physically, any type of abuse, I am so sorry that you went through that. Just know it was not, and it is not your fault. I encourage you, as I had to do, is learn to live with it, commingle with it, because my past is not going anywhere. It's forever a part of my life. Be good, be bad, be indifferent. It's forever a part of my life, and it's ever a part of yours. Again, I'm sorry if you've endured that. So I said, from the sexual abuse, anger. I said, people couldn't see the anger because they didn't know me. And I was so busy dealing with other people's problems, and that allowed me to run from mine. And when I did try to talk about it, what I got, I'm going to keep you in my prayers. I didn't want your prayers. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to give the pain, the disappointment, a voice. But I was always shut down with church folks. So through my transformation in the secular world, the church people would call them, but I was beginning to heal because I found that they were listening and they were connecting. And that's what I needed. So when I said that I had checked out, the expiration date on that part of my life had came, and I was still trying to make it work. But I explained to them about the anger. Said they had not seen the side of me where I could go from 0 to 60, and people standing back like, wait a minute, what the hell just happened? But the judgment of not being married, not having kids. So then that led me up to telling them, why do I have such passion when it comes to kids, young people? The answer is the same. It came from the abuse that I had endured. And especially when it came to my nieces and nephews. I knew if they were in my vicinity, in my house, in my custody at that time, I knew that they were safe. So they had their room. They knew not to go to my bedroom. So there again, even kids understand. I never had to tell my nieces and nephews not to go into my bedroom. The whole house was theirs. There was 2 other bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a basement, a bathroom, all of that from the refrigerator to whatever. They had free reign, but they knew how to respect whatever every other house. But they did not go in my bedroom unless I gave them permission. And when I say permission, I would call them by name and say, hey, run in my bedroom in the top drawer in the dresser and grab me. And that's the only time. I mean, I never had to worry. So people do know boundaries, but people's going to push those boundaries. And that's what would set me off. And I would try to be polite and send the warning. Matter of fact, I had a lady to tell me one time that was like a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake don't want to bite you. And that's the reason it'll do the rattle. But if you don't pay attention to the rattle, the snake's going to strike. So I went on to explain, and I was very, very clear in what I was telling them. And I had their attention for a couple of reasons. First of all, I came at them from a direction that they wasn't expecting. I came at them with honesty. Did that stop the judgment? No, it did not. But I read a quote one time: believe anything that you hear about me. Add to it if you want to. I'm too old to care. And I'm definitely at that spot now, but I was much younger then, somewhere in my 40s. So yeah, I was younger when I done this. But I found the freedom in just being honest. And I told them, yes, I have dated females. I tried to date guys. I'm not a relationship person. Damn good friend. I didn't say damn from the pulpit. I'm saying that to you guys. But a good friend. Relationship, not so much. That comes from trust issues. That comes from the brokenness that I was. Now I'm healed from that now. Now I'm older. I say, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, I'm okay with that. Because now I'm okay with being okay. I'm not going to say that, I'm too old to date, or if I don't want to go out on a date. But I'm saying it's not a priority because I had to do the work and I had to be honest, first and foremost, with me and start asking the questions, why am I so angry? And to be honest with myself and to start to answer those. So I still want people to be happy. I still want people to live their best life. That doesn't mean that it has to come through me, but it does mean they have to do the work and to heal that little boy, that little girl. See, that's another thing that I had to recognize. I kept trying to heal the adult without healing the child. So I had to go back and embrace the broken child and help the child to heal. And now the adult is okay with what happened in the past. It's a lesson learned. And I definitely don't want to go back to repeat it. But it sure enough made me the strong individual that I am now. So I hope I have been more clear to the people that may meet me in the future or the people that have already engaged with. I hope this gives you a better understanding of who Mark is. Now, I've done the work. I was so angry at one time with family stuff that my friends wouldn't even ask me about my family. I had a friend that when he approached it, he would be like, Mark, I don't want to upset you. I'm like, no, go ahead, you can ask. So then he would ask about the family. But that's how I know that I'm healed, because now I can talk about even the individuals that molested me, sexually abused me. I can talk about it now, and it's not coming from a place of anger or brokenness. It's coming from a place that I have learned to commingle with that part of my life. But there again, if you have dealt with it, you know what it does to your psyche. Yes, some people they will go on and marry, have families. I have tried to mentor people, not on an everyday basis, but as I would tell my story openly. And there's a gentleman, twice this has happened. I'm talking about in their 70s. The first gentleman in his 70s broke down and said he had been gang raped when he was a kid or a teenager. Actually, teenager's a kid to me now at my age. But he went on to marry, kids, grandkids. Had never talked about it. I was sharing it with an individual at one of the fitness centers. And because, the conversation led to that. I didn't just, boom, this is what happened to me. No, the conversation that we was having led to it. And I happened to turn around. The gentleman was in tears. No, he wasn't just, tears was rolling down his face. He had been molested by a priest. Carrying that hurt, that pain, that disappointment, your entire life. That is such a weight and such a burden. And to end this, I went ahead that Sunday morning and I spoke. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't remember that particular Sunday what I spoke about, but I remember telling my story. and the reasons why, because I knew they wanted answers. But after service, I remember I did come from such a place of anger that there are a lot of people, when I say a lot of people there, they got upset. Maybe because maybe it hit. Maybe I stepped on their toes, walked up their legs a little bit. But afterwards, a lady came up to me, and she was really crying. She was in her late 40s, if not 50s, and started to share with me that her dad was still taking advantage of her. Her mother had passed, and her dad just sort of took her and put her in her, took the place of the mother. And I was like, sweetie, you got to stop that. You got to stop it. Don't go to your dad's house, because at this point, if you are allowing it, it's definitely not sexual abuse. Morally, yes. Somehow you've engaged in a relationship with each other. And she came up, well, you know, the Bible says, obey your parents. I said, that's where you're taking it out of content. If you're going to follow the Bible, it means to obey your parents in the right. In the right. And it's laying down, going to bed willingly with your parents. Make me understand where that's right. Something's wrong with the story that you're telling me. Now, I'm sorry that it happened to the younger you. With that said, the adult you in your 40s, 50s can make that decision to stay away. And I also explained to her, to my understanding, do your own research, because I'm not sure of this. I said, to my understanding, there is not a statutory limitation on sexual abuse when it comes to children. Don't hold me to that. Now, I'm going back in the past now where the county that I grew up in, there was an older daughter, and she brought charges against her dad. Her dad was a pastor, and it had happened years and years and years and years ago. But charges was brought up against him. So again, I hope it helps you understand me more, a little bit better. I am healed. I am living my best life. I'm not waiting for permission to live my life. I'm not worried about the judgment anymore. I stand firm on the people that are supposed to be in my life will come into my life for whatever reason. And I have really worked hard on that temper. And I had to go through transformation. There again, Christianity had ran its course with me as far as what I was given. So I needed to start a journey to find a spiritual journey that works for me. Again, I left Christianity. I didn't leave God. Now, with that said, I'm going to wish you peace, love, joy, and happiness, and encourage you to work on you and identify those trigger points. Till next time, I'm sending my love to you.